Welcome to Awakening You channel. If you appreciate what we do, please support us. Thank you. Channel, Steve Rother. Greetings from home, dear ones. I am Observer and I am so thrilled to join you this day to tell you what is happening. There are many places throughout all that is where I observe and am present. That is a gift from home that I gladly bring you. So, we say all that is because we are not limited by the way you define things. That is especially true for me, it is what I do, which is why I am called Observer. The whole idea of observation is to be able to see something and to take it in without judgment. It's the ability to simply observe, without the bias that's inherent in looking for an outcome. Life on exoplanets. A planet located outside of your solar system is considered an exoplanet. Yes, there are many places throughout all that is with life very similar to that on planet Earth. Certain aspects of your location and environment determine how your world will play out, although many things are simply by choice. This is not just humans, but also spirits pretending to be separate from each other in whatever game you're playing. Many of you have played games in different places throughout the universe. And that's why sometimes you are drawn to a certain star in the night sky. Perhaps you were there or had an active part in that evolution. Also, your 11 other dimensions of time-space exist in the same time frame as you do. However, you have to experience the illusion of time one moment at a time. That's all you can do, because it simply isn't possible to take it all in at once. The repetition bias, often the first energy that lands on a planet, tends to repeat itself over and again. In different places throughout the universe, when I ask people why they do one thing or another, the usual answer is that it's a custom. They may not even understand why they're doing it. But because it's part of their built-in energy, they're doing it out of repetition. Your body suits have many different biases that influence who you are in the world around you. One of those influences is repetition. When you see things that repeat in your field, even if you totally disagree with them, you suddenly have a place for them after they've repeated a number of times. Throughout the universe, typically the same things are recreated that were originally created by their forefathers. One of the things that has happened here on planet Earth is male domination. It has been, and still is, an old boys' club in many governments on Earth. Eris. Now I'll tell you about a place that I visit regularly like Earth. I have fallen deeply in love with Eris, but it is quite different from the dwarf planet with a similar name. Eris is a star system that exists in your own Milky Way galaxy. The inhabitants of Eris learn to move between planets in that star system. They have evolved in different ways, because they've been around much longer than Earth and humanity. Much of their energy was spent on survival and their constant struggle with gravity. But they had one important imprint early on that has continued, repeating itself over and again. The main difference is that the feminine energy is in charge, exactly the opposite of what you have on planet Earth. Neither is considered right or wrong, it's just how that aspect has evolved. Many of the teachers and beings on Eris are carrying and working with the masculine to balance that energy. Although there are plenty of men and masculine energy in their governments, the main leadership naturally tends to fall to the feminine. Balancing sexual energy. They are also very similar to planet Earth with regards to evolution and balancing your duality. Stepping out of the third dimension and into the fifth requires balancing duality. And that's actually your sexual energy and why you have new sexuality showing up. Even at very young ages, some are now making choices about their sexuality that weren't available before. The star system of Eris also has very similar physical attributes to those of planet Earth, and it is dealing with cleaning up massive pollution on its planets. Those on Eris are now dealing with shortened time frames, because at least 2 of the 3 planets that support life in the star system are overburdened. Both planet Earth and planet Eris are degrading physically as a result of prolonged pollution. If they were to come together and compare notes, both planets would benefit greatly. That's why Earth chose Eris. Old energy resurfacing. It's also causing a resurgence of the old energy, but this is typical behavior. When beings experience large-scale fear, they step backwards in their evolution. That is true of all beings everywhere, and you are now seeing this surface on Earth in many ways. Eris is not far behind, so you also have that in common as well. Masculine energy tends to work on the outside of the bodysuit, while the feminine energy tends to work a little bit deeper. One is not better than the other, dear ones, they simply work and present differently. Timeline cross. The portal that recently opened around Earth brought possibilities for balancing, and she has been receiving help. As a result, it's now possible to do something never before accomplished, an intentional timeline cross. Because time is linear, it can only be experienced one moment at a time. It is one-dimensional, like a shooting star streaking across the night sky. So, what happens when timelines cross each other? When a timeline cross occurs, each timeline leaves an indelible imprint on the other. Usually during a timeline cross small changes happen, then both timelines continue on their path. These are not easily predictable and are part of the natural blending of the universe. But in the past there were elongated timeline crosses that happened and forever changed both worlds. A few of these are stories retold over generations. Because of the recent portal opening, Earth was able to align an intentional timeline cross with her sister Eris to help both evolve into the fifth dimension. One of the things taking place is that Eris has its own timelines. Since you have different timelines, the dates will fluctuate a bit. At this point it looks like the cross will be happening toward the middle of this December, around the 17th, and probably stretch through most of February of next year. And there's a very interesting thing that takes place with that, but I'll let Merla share more about that. This timeline cross will be very interesting, especially since you are so polar opposite in the domination of your sexes. Yes, this will cause some things to rise to the surface quickly. Some will be negative or reactionary. Breathe your way through it, dear ones, and know that the sun will rise again on a new day. So with that I will bring in my sister Merla and let her tell the rest of the story. You are more special than you could possibly imagine. We'll tell you, the eyes of the universe are on humanity and now on the beings of Eris as well. I am observer and I like to watch, Ispevo. Underscore 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 underscore. Greetings, dear ones, I am Merla. I join you this day with such joy, for there is a miracle that is taking place. Now that you've opened up the opportunity with the portal, what would it be like if suddenly a wonderful warm blanket of feminine energy came in and was laid down on planet Earth? That's exactly what this looks like from our perspective, with the process beginning this December. The energy will work its way throughout different areas, but you'll see a lot of resistance on Earth from masculine energy. Because the timeline cross will also affect Eris, they will also have beings that wish to break and stop the connection. Yes, some may feel threatened by the new information coming in. But the interesting thing is that people will feel this blanket of feminine energy, so there will be a connection. Yes, this will be an opportunity for both worlds. Although some may react negatively to it initially, they will still feel the warmth and love of that blanket. The energy felt on Eris will be more of a masculine energy, and they will love that blanket. So, that is what we're going to ask all of you to do. Put your energy and your love into that feeling, because it's there for everyone. Does it mean that everybody's going to feel it? No, of course not. There will be many who simply aren't interested in that feeling and just want to get to the next place they're going. This timeline cross is something that can change all of humanity very quickly, which has also happened before. Basically, you have all these lines, but they don't all run parallel to one another. Timeline crosses happen on a fairly regular basis, and most of the time they happen at close to a 90-degree angle. As a result, the actual cross and resulting exchange of information occurs quickly. New collective memories. One timeline is here, a second timeline is over there. As they cross they imprint each other, and then they move on. But the imprint is felt on both sides and it becomes permanent. Then suddenly there's a new memory, a new imprint on both timelines that was not there before. That memory comes with its own history. So, it is as if that new memory was there all along, but you did not notice it before. Again, this usually causes change in both directions, so this will be happening on Eris as well. Culturally, you have certain stories that you continue to repeat over and over. These are your bodysuit stories that help to define you. Even though they may actually be classified as fictional stories, they never change, they repeat and resurface, over and over again. The stories about King Arthur and Merlin are an example of such a timeline cross that took place. Now, as we mentioned, most of these happen very quickly at a 90-degree angle. But when a timeline crosses at a very slight angle instead, there's a lot of time and space where they cross each other and those imprints become huge. That is also true of the stories of King Arthur and several religions. And that's what will happen with the timeline cross for Earth and Eris. You're crossing each other at a gradual angle, almost walking side by side for a very long time before the cross actually starts to happen. So, it takes a while and it's a huge timeline cross. During that time you'll be busy dealing with things. Yes, you're still playing with war and working with things of that nature on the planet. There's a new blanket of feminine energy here on Earth that can ground itself. And on Eris there's a new masculine energy to balance the feminine. Eris and Earth may react during this time, as they each attempt to balance and ground the energy into their physical structures. When you are out of balance, dear ones, you're in trouble. It's very simple. All of your illnesses come from being out of balance either energetically, emotionally, or physically. So, the idea is always to find that balance. Keep in mind that we are calling this an intentional timeline cross, because it was chosen by Earth and that is magical. In the beginning it will be very gentle, because it will cross slowly at first. But towards the end of December, the timeline cross will start working its way into your reality as much as possible. What determines how long it will stay and how well it is accepted? Well, there is polarity everywhere. And when you have opposites you also have fear. This will be threatening to the masculine energy that is in charge on Earth, while also threatening the feminine energy of Eris. As these timelines cross over each other, they leave these imprints and stories. And if the stories have value, you will create them because you're creator beings. That's what you do, dear ones, you create your reality. Is it just a coincidence that all the things you've seen in science fiction movies and television programs have now manifested on your planet? No, it's because you are creator beings. Enjoy this journey, dear ones, and remember that we are always with you. You are the greatest angels that have ever lived, welcome home. Know that every step of your path is leaving a trail of light behind it that will be followed. Know that you are part of a large family of light, and we send you love from home. Treat each other with respect, nurture one another and play well together. I am Merla, the feminine aspect of Merlin. Come up and see me sometime. The group.